Bonjour classe, comment ça va? Bienvenue dans la classe de français 2. We are doing our last portion of review this week. So let's get started. On y va. What are we reviewing? First of all, les questions. Hopefully several of these question words look familiar to you from last year. Let's find out. Qui? Qu'est-ce que? Quand? À quelle heure? Où? Comment? Pourquoi? How many of these do you already know? Let's start with qui. Qui means who. Who are we talking about? Qui est? Qu'est-ce que means what. Qu'est-ce que tu fais? What are you doing? Quand means when. Quand est-ce que tu viens chez moi? When are you coming to my house? À quelle heure? Oh, we just reviewed this one last week. What time is it? Or at what time, I should say. Because à quelle heure? At what time? Où means where. Où est-ce que tu vas? Where are you going? Comment means how, or what is that person like? You could say, comment est-il? What's he like? What's his personality? Or you can say, comment est-ce que tu chantes? How do you sing? Do you sing well, bien, ou mal? How? And finally, pourquoi? Pourquoi means why. Pourquoi est-ce qu'on étudie le français? Well, the answer is parce que, because le français est le plus cool. Parce que. The answer to pourquoi. Because. Hopefully some of these look familiar, but if they don't, you can find them in your textbook on page 21, and we're learning them now. We'll be using these questions throughout the week to ask each other questions and then to answer questions about ourselves. So this next slide, I'm just going to briefly show it to you. Start thinking about how can you ask these questions to other people. Where do you live? What word would you use for where? What do you like to do? Just think back, just a few seconds ago, we talked about the word what, or the phrase that means what. At what time do you eat lunch? How do you say these things in French? And then you're going to want to refer back to qui, qu'est-ce que, quand, à quelle heure, où, comment, pourquoi. All right. That's page 21, reviewing question words, and we'll continue to do more in class. But now we're also going to review all of our verbs. You guys, without verbs, we wouldn't get anything done. Verbs are action words. Verbs are the things that help us to speak and sing and eat and dance and live. Those are verbs. We need them to communicate in French. And so we start with the verb parler. Do you remember parler from last year? It means to speak or to talk. For example, je parle français. I speak French. When you use any of these verbs in a sentence, you have to change the form of the verb to fit the subject. That's what a conjugation is. So if I want to say I speak or I am talking, I say je parle. You are speaking, you are talking. Tu parles. Il parle, elle parle. He talks, she speaks. Nous parlons. We are all talking. We all speak French. Nous parlons français. Vous parlez. All y'all speak French too. Vous parlez français. Il parle, elle parle. They speak French. They the boys or they the girls. Now what do you notice about these conjugations, these usages, is that a word? Of the verb? What changes about the verb when you conjugate it, when you use it in a sentence, is the ending. So we start off by looking at parler, which is called the infinitive. It means to speak. And when you conjugate it, when you use it in a sentence, you change the ending. You drop this ER, and for je, you say je parle with an E. Tu parles, ES. Il parle, elle parle, just an E. Nous parlons, ONS. Vous parlez, easy. Il parle, ENT. Elle parle, ENT. Couple of things. First of all, notice the pronunciation doesn't change that much. Je parle, tu parles, il parle, elle parle. Even though the endings are a little bit different, you still pronounce them the same. Over here on the plural side, nous parlons, vous parlez, and il parle. Don't pronounce the NT, it's just parle. This ONS, easy, ENT pattern is going to come back over and over and over again. Most of the time, 90% of the time that you're using a verb in the present tense like this, the endings for nous are going to be ONS, the ending for vous, easy, and for il and elle, ENT. So watch for those patterns the more verbs you learn and practice. Class, we do have some practice that we're going to mostly do in class. And here they are. There's a whole list. But if you wanted to pause the video for a moment and see if you can actually conjugate these on your own, see what you can do. All right, we're going to move on now to IR verbs. So finir is one of these verbs. Do you guys remember finir from last year? Maybe you learned it, maybe you didn't. Last year was kind of a weird year in the ending there. Pandemic year. But finir means to finish. And so let's finish this verb. When we conjugate it, when we use it in a sentence, we're going to change the ending. Je finis, tu finis, il finit, elle finit. Nous finissons. Ooh, that got fancy. Vous finissez. Ils finissent, elles finissent. Notice that we're adding in a few extra letters, but do you still see the pattern? ONS, EZ, ENT. That's the same as the regular ER verbs. The only difference is you have to add this little extra ISS. It makes it very French and very fancy. Je finis, tu finis, il finit. Nous finissons, vous finissez, ils finissent. Voilà. One more group of verbs that maybe you learned and maybe you didn't. But that's okay because I have a way to help you remember. Of course I do. I always do. These are verbs that end with RE. So we've done verbs that end with ER, IR, and now we're looking at RE. Vendre is one of those verbs. Vendre means to sell. Like, is anyone going to do a fundraiser this year? Maybe for band or choir? Or for your sports team, you're going to sell some things. Think of like the vending machine at school. Vendre is to sell, vending, right? So to say, I sell, je vends. Tu vends, you sell, you are selling something. Il vend, elle vend. On vend, we'll probably talk about that one more in class. But it means one or someone, so it's a very general term. Nous vendons. Vous vendez, ils vendent, elles vendent. What do you notice about this? ONS, EZ, ENT. So these patterns keep coming back. Verb conjugations aren't that hard. You just have to remember what the patterns look like. Class, to help you remember these, I've got a little something special for you. SS nothing. ONS easy. ENT. SS nothing. ONS easy. ENT. All right, stop. Conjugate and listen. I'm going to teach you all a new conjugation, something that'll make you say, yay, you're going to learn to conjugate the RE way. Love it or leave it, you better make way. You better learn the right conjugation today. If there was a problem, yo, I'd solve it. Check out the verb while my DJ revolves it. SS nothing. ONS easy. ENT. SS nothing. ONS easy. ENT. All right, vendre. It's an RE verb, the coolest conjugation that you ever heard. Je vends, tu vends, il vend. Now here is the rest I'm going to teach it to you. Nous vendons and vous vendez. Il, elle vend is the RE way. If there was a problem, yo, I'd solve it. Check out the verb while my DJ revolves it. SS nothing. ONS easy. ENT. S, nothing. O-N-S, easy. E-N-T, all right, yo, we out of here. Word to your mare. S, nothing. S, nothing. Woo! You gonna remember your RE verb conjugations? Mais oui, madame, super bien. All right. 3 different kinds of verbs, many patterns to follow, and a little bit of question vocabulary. That's what we're looking at for this week. So go ahead and look that stuff up in your textbook, do a little bit of practice, watch this video again, go over the practice pages, and see how much you can be ready for when you come back to class next week. It's been great hanging out with you. Thanks for liking and subscribing. And I'll see you à la prochaine. Merci, à bientôt. Au revoir.